you guys saw my last Liberty Talk, which I did back in December or something last year, my thing, what? It has been a while. My thing is local activism, right? So my whole Liberty Talk there was about local activism, the message being how to make your community better, right where you live, actually making a difference in your community to advance freedom. And I gave some good tips and everything. Maybe some of it practical, maybe some of it not. I don't really, you just got to try things out and see what actually works. Okay. What I wanted to do today was kind of build on that and talk about what our objectives are as libertarians. Okay. So I've got a couple of these written down, some objectives that we have. And also, if you have an objective and someone is trying to stop you from completing your objective, you have what? You have an enemy, right? So you have objectives, and we're going to have an associated enemy for that objective, right? So one of our objectives as libertarians is we don't want people confiscating our wealth and handing it out to their friends, or confiscating our money and using it for things that are not productive in the community, right? So that's one of our objectives. We want that freedom. We want to be able to keep our earnings or put our earnings to productive use that we choose, okay? So who would be the enemy there? Well, the only entity that can confiscate our wealth is the state, right? So for that objective, we want a reduction in state power, essentially. Okay. Next is throwing people in cages for nonviolent offenses. People who are not aggressive against anybody, are being incarcerated left and right. Again, there's only one entity that has the power to do that. It's the state. So again, in order for us to complete that objective, we have to have a reduction in state power. So that's who we're up against, right? What about stopping people from transacting voluntarily in the marketplace? Okay? People want to make transactions, whether they want to sell coffee beans to each other, they want to sell certain services to each other. Some stuff is illegal. Some types of property are simply illegal, and they can't trade them at all. Some services, of course, are illegal. And then also, there's occupational licensing and things like that prevent people from entering the marketplace. Again, all roads lead to Rome, right? It's the state. The state is the only entity that has the power to interfere in these ways. Okay. Now let's talk about some things that we have to define in a different way. What if our objective was to combat racism? Right? We don't want to live in a society where people have an irrational in-group preference, and they use that irrational in-group preference against other people, right? Well, who's the enemy there? The enemy there is people with irrational in-group preferences. It's not necessarily the state, right? So who are we fighting? Who can we fight against? Who can we try to take power away from in that instance? Or a fellow citizen? What are we going to tell them? Like, you got a thought crime, and you can't walk around with these ideas in your mind, right? You can't do that. Okay. Back to the state. We're very close to Centerville, Illinois. You guys might know Centerville, Illinois is the poorest community in the entire United States. That was as last year, maybe a year before that stat came out. Did racism cause that? Maybe racism had something to do with it. But if we go back to the other things that I talked about in the beginning, I think we're going to find the fingerprints of the welfare state and the war on drugs on the problems that are in that community as well. So we can combat racism by combating the state in a way. Okay? We want people in poor communities of backgrounds other than our own here to be better off. We can do that also through combating the state. Anti-LGBT, people who are against LGBT rights and things like that, right? Who's our enemy there? Anti-LGBT people? What are we going to tell them? It's the same situation, right? But again, back to the state, and LGBT people want what? They want the right to contract, They want the right to control their inheritance and their property and things like that. Their enemy is the state as well. It's not really some guy that doesn't approve of their behavior. They're probably not friends with that guy anyway, to begin with, right? And if they have those people in the workplace, I don't know, avoid them. You're trying to work with them or tell them not to treat you bad or something. I don't know. There's nothing for us to do there, is what I'm saying. We stay with the same objective, is reduce the power of the state. And then people are free to organize their lives the way they wish and to associate how they will. Okay? Now, strategy. How are we going to achieve this objective? If you're watching this on YouTube, this is where you turn off, this is where we go off the rails. Okay. Is it? I don't necessarily know what it is. I don't necessarily have the answer to how we achieve a free society in our lifetime. If I did, we'd be there. Right? We would all just organize, and then boom, it'd be free, it'd be great. I guess we could still get together once a month, that'd be fun. But we'd be free to do so, right? But is it the state party? Is it the Libertarian Party of Illinois? That's the question. So let's talk about what the party does. The party, largely, the purpose of the Libertarian Party of Illinois is to petition for ballot access, place Libertarian candidates on the ballot, promote the ideas of freedom through those candidates, in hopes that one day we're going to break through some state identified threshold and then be able to run Libertarian candidates all over the state. Freedom will sweep. Eventually, 1, 2, skip a few, we'll have a bunch of Libertarians in the state legislature, and then from there, both the Republicans and the Democrats will have to get our approval because we'll have a small little group in the state legislature, and we got the go or no go on everything, right? We can't know the future, but from where we're standing right now and looking back to the past to predict where we're going, that is fantasy. It's a really fun fantasy, but it is fantasy. And we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it every other year, and people right here in this group have done wonders collecting these signatures and promoting candidate events and doing all this kind of stuff. But what do we have to show for it? We're no more free from doing that, in my estimation, than we were from not doing that. Okay? So, secondly, ballot access, again, back to that. Taking over the legislature, again, this is kind of a fantasy. But, hold on. Local candidates. We can take over or have influence on local boards, right? We have people that have run for local boards, we have people that have won spots on local boards, and they have influence on these local boards. But hold on, we don't need the party. While the party has candidate recruitment individual, right? And like a little group they might help people for petition and all that kind of stuff. Everybody here that's run, successfully or unsuccessfully, has petitioned for themselves, has filed their own paperwork. They didn't have to be recruited. They were recruited. We recruited them ourselves. We self-fed that system, right? So we don't really need the party to do that, and yet that's the only thing that we're really allowed to do from a ballot access perspective. Okay. So is it the state party? Now, I don't know. I would say this. I would say that right now, without being overly dramatic, this group, the Metro-East Libertarians, we're at crossroads. We have to look at what we've done in the past, and we have to look at where we are today and what we may be able to do in the future with the resources and the personnel and the talents that we have. We have to decide, are we going to spend the entire spring collecting signatures for candidates that we're going to see 2 or 3 times for an organization that's 2.5 hours from here at a minimum? And they're great people, don't get me wrong. But is that what we're going to spend our time and effort on? Or are we going to spend our time and effort in Alhambra, in Collinsville, in Belleville, in Columbia, in Centerville, in Fairmont, in Madison, trying to bring prosperity and freedom to those areas. The areas that we live in, we spend all our time in. And we actually have influence in. We actually have the ability to reach out to those communities, attend their meetings, to run people for their boards, to examine their issues, and spread information about it. Now, if we decided the party just ain't it, right? We decide we're going to leave the party. We decide secession is the deal, okay? What are some pros and cons? Well, the first pro, and this is probably just for me, we don't ever have to talk to Benedict. Now, that may or may not affect anybody else in this room. But I wrote that down because it's my liberty talk. Okay? But the one thing is we control messaging, right? If we're not part of the Libertarian Party of Illinois, then whatever they post on Facebook is whatever they post on Facebook. Whatever their candidates say is whatever their candidates say. We don't have to wear that, right? Today, how many people in here are answering for the what is Aleppo thing? How many people are answering for James Weeks II taking off his clothes on C-SPAN in the middle of the convention? How many people are answering for, I had another one, I can't remember what it was, a meme promoting the Church of Satan, a meme that again goes after all these things, messaging of anti-LGBT, racism, separation of church and state, all this stuff that has nothing to do with our objectives, right? We want to reduce state power. Our enemy is the state. None of that stuff has anything to do with it. So if we're our own group, if we just do what we want to do, we control the messaging. I've been saying it, if you guys have been around, I've said we have to tell our own story. And I've said in a general sense, libertarians have to tell their own story because other people, when other people tell their story, it's never positive. Okay? But the people in this room, in my opinion, don't need people in Chicago telling our story either. So it's our own insiders are harming us in the messaging. Okay. And then for candidates, we find our own candidates anyway. So it doesn't matter. We don't need the state party for that. And the cons, I do have a con listed, as you can tell, I'm obviously kind of leaning in the direction of the pros. The cons are we'll no longer be eligible for the Petition Challenge Award, which we did in fact come in second last year. And if you look at DuPage is hurting, right? They lost all their star players. Peoria lost their star player. He's down at Stanford getting some kind of epic degree. So we're well poised to win this, right? We have all the superstars right here. But also, what if we had those superstars doing something productive from March to June rather than throwing away 50,000 petition signatures? That's my Liberty talk. I think we're at a crossroads with the group. I just want you guys to consider that. Obviously, nothing's on the agenda. I'm not trying to sway people either way. You know, I'm not trying to say don't go to a convention. I'm not trying to say don't collect petition signatures. I'm not trying to say publicly burn your membership card. What I am trying to say is that we have a chance to control our destiny. The state party needs us. We don't necessarily need them.